Alright, so I want to talk about something a lot of people have been wondering about me, right? So I always talk about like being single and stuff like that, right? Man, I'm gonna keep it a book with you. Like, being single ain't bad. You know what I'm saying? It's really not bad. I've never really viewed being single as bad. I just know, like, I would see, like, growing up, right? I would see like a lot of single mothers or a lot of like married single mothers. No shade, but seriously though, because sometimes people be married but they be really single because like they don't even like each other, mom, and I would see a lot of women, basically just like a lot of unloved women, right? So then, like, growing up, they kind of gave me like this view on marriage where I was like, man, I can't give up on love, and I can't like stop loving these men. They need us, not like in a self-sabotaging way, but I mean, like, we need each other, like men and women. And I was like, man, I really want to be married, and this, that, and the third, blah, blah, blah. So that was like really my goal. And so I think like maybe my mid-20s, I like really started to try to like lock in on what I feel as though the perfect wife would be, right? And fundamentally, I think I was right. Fundamentally, I think I was right. But what's the word I'm looking for? There are other factors that really went into that. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta cook for them, clean for them, do this, be prepared, blah, blah, blah. This, that, and the third. All the fundamental things like a person would do anyway, right? I would do that. But when it really all boils down to, as far as like relationships, in my opinion, right? Do you like the nigga or not? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, do you like the girl or not? You know what I mean? Like, that's really what it all boils down to. And I say that because, like, if you really love somebody, and I mean really love somebody, you gonna do what you gotta do to change for them. Well, not necessarily for them, but for the relationship. And I have to make sure I use my words right, because I don't believe in changing yourself for somebody else, but changing yourself, for a relationship, or changing yourself for, a situation or opportunity or whatever, for a better life. That I do agree with. But I won't say for someone else. And I wouldn't say change yourself for someone else, because then your whole identity becomes tied to that person. You feel me? So, like I said, it just kind of all boiled down to, like, do you like this person or not? A lot of people like to complicate it. And there are some complexities to it, so I'm not discrediting them or anything. But it's really not that complicated, But a lot of people like to complicate it and be like, well, you have to love yourself first, and you got to do this, da, da, da. That's not true in every situation. It's true if you looking for love. But I mean, like, if you just living life and love comes to you, which is probably a better love, in my opinion, like, you can get into that relationship being a broken person, right? Or you can form a bond with somebody that really likes you, even though you're a broken person. And maybe eventually it will become a relationship. There are levels to that. There are limitations to that as well. There are standards for that. But it really just all boils down to, like, do you like that person or not? Like, I sit and I think about, the type of relationship that I want moving forward. If I am to, move forward in a relationship, dating, whatever. And I think about the type of relationship I want. I want to have more smiles than frowns. You know what I mean? There has to be a mutual respect there. There has to be a space to feel safe. There has to be space to both of you can be yourself, you know. You have to have, like, I would never forget this guy I was dating a long time ago, right? And he said something to me, and I'm gonna try not to say exactly what he said, but I didn't realize how much it meant, you know, then, like I do now. And he was just saying, like, basically, you know, I hurt him. And he was like, you hurt me like my brother hurt me. And I was like, damn. But really, his brother's his best friend. You know, so for me to have hurt him, like his brother hurt him, you know, he was really hurt. You know what I mean? Like, when you love somebody, you love them like your best friend, you love them like your brother, you love them like your sister, you love them like your mama, your daddy, your family. You know what I'm saying? You got to really, you love them like that. Like my best friend, that's my family. You know what I'm saying? Even though we're not blood, that's my family. So if I love a man, you got to love me like my best friend. You know, like honestly, I would date my best friend if I was into that thing, but I'm not. But that's how I know that this my soulmate best friend, because I love you like that. You feel what I'm saying? Like, even if we, no matter what, you know. But it just all come down to, like, do you like this person or not? You know, but that's in any relationship, is what I come to find out. Like, if you ever listen to me talk, like, I always relate any topic that I'm talking to, I relate it to all different types of relationships and partnerships. Like intimate relationships, business relationships, friendships, whatever. I relate on they because they all are the same. Really. You know, the dynamics maybe, the responsibilities may be different. But if we talking about a true relationship, a true bond, they all are the same. Because if you like this person well enough, you would change to make it work. You know? And it's just the God honest truth. But the only thing is that you can't put all that responsibility of change on yourself. Words are very important, right? So I try to use the correct wordage when I'm speaking now. If that person liked me well enough, they would change to make this work. If I like them well enough, I would change to make this work. And it goes with family, friends, intimate relationship, business partnerships, my future, everything. If I want this bad enough, if I love this enough, I'm going to do what I have to do to make that work. Period. And it just all boils down to, do you like them or not? Do you love them or not? Do you want to be with them or not? Do you still get them butterflies and goofy pimples and, you know, when you see them, like, when you see them, do your face light up, no matter what? I went to go see my best friend the other day, even though we beefing. First thing we did was start smiling when we saw each other. You know what I'm saying? We still beefing. But first thing we did was smile when we saw each other. You know what I'm saying? That's how you know it's real. You know what I'm saying? When I see my sister, even though we beefing, we still gonna smile when we see each other. We might be petty the whole time we together. But first thing we gonna do is smile when we see each other. You know what I'm saying? This how you know you love somebody. This how you know it's right. This how you know it's real. For real. Like, no matter what, it don't matter. If you leave and you come back, not you come back because you ain't got nowhere else to go, but you come back because you simply can't stay away. That's how you know you love somebody. And if that's the case, what you gonna do? What are y'all gonna do to make that work? Because it ain't just you, and you can't keep putting that responsibility on yourself. Like, I got to change to make this work. Now, we got to change to make this work. You feel me? Like, a lot of people been putting a lot of pressure on me. You got to change. You got to change. You got to change. My resistance to that is that you also have to change. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because if one party changes and the other one doesn't, that's control. That's manipulation. You both have to change. You both have to come together, set boundaries, set standards to make this shit work. You know what I mean? That's a relationship. You know, if anybody has ever worked with me, especially in my 20s, like my later 20s, I'm all about efficiency at work. You hear me? You got to work for everybody. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, when I'm at work, I can't stand doing extra work. You know what I mean? Like doing all this unnecessary stuff for no reason. Or I can't stand seeing some people be more comfortable than other people at work. Like, just make it efficient for everybody. Let's come to a thing where we can all be efficient and on point. Relationships got to be efficient. You know, functional. It's gonna be functional, whether it's dysfunctional or good functional. It's gonna be functional. But I think it's most happiest when it's efficient. Because when it's efficient, then it works for everybody. You know? And that's just what I think, like, a healthy relationship is efficiency. Right? How we gonna make this work for both of us? Like, one person shouldn't be stressing and doing more than the other person is doing. You know? Like, one person shouldn't be putting in more time than the other person is. One person shouldn't be constantly giving more than the other person is. You know, but then it also comes down to a thing of, like, you can't reject your partner either. You know, your partner will try to give you things, and you're like, no, I don't want it, because it's not what I want, you know. But is it efficient? You know what I'm saying? Like, is it efficient? Like, when it comes down to using the word want and need in a relationship, I don't know. It's a time and a place to want something. It's a time and a place to need something in relationships. Because you can be too needy and you can want too much. You know? Like Tyler Perry said, what'd he say? He was like, you know, in a relationship, you probably only gonna get 80% of what you really want. This fact. You probably gonna get 80%. Yeah. But want and need, you know, is it efficient? You feel me? Like, is it efficient? And like, when it really come down to, like, people's relationships, like, one thing I learned over the years, like, people get married for different reasons. You know, people really get married for, like, different reasons. And I do think, like, in lieu of divorce, I do think that some people serve a purpose in some people's lives in a certain point of time. Do they have to commit to that time? No. But it was probably efficient at the time. And it, hopefully, at the time of divorce, it should have worked out for both of y'all. You understand what I'm saying? You know. But I think I feel like efficiency is what we should strive for. You know what I mean? Am I getting the efficient amount of love? Am I giving the efficient amount of love? Like, you know, because if 80%, and I'm just going off of that standard, right? Because I don't know what standards you go off of. I'm just saying, we're going off of 80% standard, right? Efficiency, not perfection. You know, I feel like in my relationships, it's weird because in one relationship, I shot for perfection. In the other relationship, I tested imperfection. And what I came up with was efficiency. You know what I mean? Like, it ain't about, for me, you know, there are opportunities when you meet people that have things that, or lifestyles that you desire, right? And you may work out in their plan, but understand going in, it could be temporary, you know? And it could be uncomfortable, you know? But if you commit to this, make it efficient. You feel me? Because like I said, people get married for different reasons. Sometimes love is not an option for some people. So is it efficient? You know? And, you know, when it comes down to, like, having a, like, I hear a lot of men say, like, and even women too, but more men have been vocal about this, saying, like, you know, they would rather marry somebody that gives them peace over a toxic love situation, right? Because, you know, emotions can get very volatile. You may love each other intensely, but you don't know how to be together. And so that creates a dysfunction versus being with somebody that's more efficient. You feel me? And like, I think that's really very important, is the efficiency of the relationship. You know, I think when it comes down to, because one thing, you know, is really important to me is parenting, you know, and how we parent our children and how we discipline our children. There was one thing very important for me, right? And I'm not the type of person that likes to whoop my kids all the time. I don't. You know, I know for a fact I'm probably going to have at least one radical child. I'm cool with it. Do you? You know what I mean? But, so I'm not really the type of person that likes to whoop my kids all the time, because I don't believe in keeping people in line. In check, maybe, but not in line. I don't believe in keeping people in a place or keeping people in a box. So I really wouldn't teach that to my children. But some men are, that I've met, are more, what's the word? Like they the hammer, something like that. I don't know. They're more stern, or, you know, they believe in whoopings and stuff like that, whooping the kid all the time, you know, when they do something bad. I just don't believe in it, you know. So, but there has to be a compromise, because sometimes they need their ass whooped, and it's just the God honest truth. And then sometimes it's not all that serious, you know. Efficiency. And that was just me using an example. You know, like I said, I like flowers a lot. You know, I like flowers. If he knows I like flowers, he's going to buy me flowers. He might not buy them all the time. I can buy flowers for myself. But I like flowers. So even though you don't, you know, I'm not expecting you or not requesting that you buy me flowers. At some point, you're going to have to buy me flowers. Because, you know, flowers make me happy. And it is something that's going to keep me happy. Efficiency. You know, happy wife, happy life. Right? Happy husband. Then he won't be a husband. I don't know. I'm trying to rhyme. But I really think efficiency is important, in my opinion. You know, just when it comes down to life. Relationships, like, efficiency is very, very important. You know, communication. The only way you can achieve efficiency is through communication, though. You know, but everybody communicates differently in their relationships, because I know, like, for a fact, you know, some people really operate on nonverbal communication. Like, they just know. You know what I mean? And then there are some people, I don't know. I feel like, oh my God. I feel like you really know your partner, right? When they can communicate with you non-verbally, you know. Like, and you can really tell this, like, when something is wrong with you and you trying to hold a straight face, this, that, and the third, but your partner can see straight through their bullshit. That's how you know you have a partner. Or even a friend, you know, and that's important, you know, communication, You know, having a safe space to communicate is also very important too. You know, knowing how to communicate with your partner and be willing to learn how to communicate with your partner. Because like when it comes down to communication, you have to teach people how to talk to you. You know, you really, really do. You know, and this one thing that I've gotten in trouble with because I'm a very like straightforward, blunt person. You know, I try not to be so brash, but I have my moments. You know, I'm a feed it to you raw and real. But in certain people in my life that I have to be a little bit more sensitive with. You know what I mean? And even when it comes down to some men, you have to be a little bit more sensitive with them. And I know it's crazy because, you know, a lot of women, especially like a lot of women that didn't grow up around men. Well, I'm not going to say grow up around them, but like, you know what I mean? You have to learn how to communicate with men. Like, in my opinion, I feel like men are bigger crybabies than women. They're way more sensitive than women are. I don't care what nobody say. They are way more sensitive. They like big babies, bro. They are big man babies. They really are. You know. Now, even though they all strong and they supposed to protect us, they still big ass man babies. I don't care what you say. You know. And their ego is very fragile. You know. And sometimes, and you really have to learn how to communicate with it, because some men, like, they swear up and down, like, you don't have to talk to me like I'm a baby, like I'm a child. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. You just have to do it in a tone where he don't feel insulted. Because they're big ass man babies. We love them though, but they're big man babies. They are. They are big ass man babies. And they're gonna forever be man babies. And it's just the God honest truth. You know. Like, I had seen this man the other day. He was like, you know, when a man acts like a child around you, that means he loves you. You know, because he can. Grown ass men watch cartoons. You know. Hell, I still watch cartoons, but don't tell nobody. But like, we're just really realizing it, because I know it's like a lot of like men, like my uncles and just guys my age, men my age, and like just older men, like granddaddies, they still be watching cartoons. And I'm like, y'all are like so old. Why are you watching cartoons? But that's when I really realized, like, they really are big ass man babies. They big boys, you know. And honestly, being an adult, you know, and dealing with people's emotions, you really understand, like, we all just big ass kids with responsibilities. You know, like with me, I was substituting, like teaching for a while, right? And I was like, man, I really feel like a camp counselor, but that's low key what I am. And you know, like camp counselors, like if you went to like summer camps back in the day, your camp counselors was really just teenagers. You know what I mean? They was just a little bit older than you. And like being in like the classroom, I'm really just a little bit older than you. Like, I'm not that much older than you, except for the little babies. But you know what I mean? It's really the same thing, you know. And then dealing with like adults, they be more childish than children, really, to be honest, if you really want to get into it. You know, and it was just one thing I had to learn, like, you know, we put a lot of labels on a lot of things, a lot of people, you know. We really, really do. But we really are just kids. Some of us just have more responsibilities than others. And it's just the God honest truth. You know, and when we understand it, I think the communication does get a little bit better in the relationships. Now, I know with me, everybody like, well, you, on the joke's on you, you act like. Yeah, because I'm pissed off. But I'm pissed off for other reasons outside of the relationship, you know. And that's really what my problem is. It ain't even the relationship itself. It's really the other stuff that I'm really mad at. And I'm just kind of, I don't really want to say I'm bringing it into the relationship, but it's really tied to the relationship, which is why I'm really mad. Like if it wasn't tied to the relationship, I wouldn't be having those problems. But, you know, I'm working through it, you know. And people be like, well, you talk to these men real aggressively and this, that, and the third. Honestly, I treat you how you treat me. You know? You fuck me, I'ma fuck you twice. You know what I mean? Excuse my language. But seriously, I'm a mutable person. And if you think I'm lying, you into zodiacs, I'm a Pisces. I'm mutable. I literally blend into my environments. Like, that's how I have such an array of friends. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I have all sorts of kind of friends. You know what I mean? Because I'm mutable. I just kind of blend in, you know, with whoever I'm with. Maybe not physically, but, you know, personality-wise. I blend in with whoever I'm with, really, a lot of the times, you know, unless I just don't want to be there. But, so, like, there are proactive people and there are reactive people. There are proactive situations and there are reactive situations. You know, and you really got to know who you're dealing with. You know, like, I have a lot of people, a lot of men be like, well, men have to lead the relationships and they have to be the leaders and da da da. Sometimes, and what I learned from, like, this couple in Tennessee, back in Chattanooga, one thing I learned was that being a leader sometimes is allowing your woman to lead, right? Like, this one thing people don't understand about leadership, right, is that when you are a leader, when you are the head of a corporation, when you are a business person, when you are the president of something, you have people that specialize in different things. You know what I mean? Like, you have people that specialize in different things because that's what they're good at. And you as a leader is just to be the liaison for all of these people. It's not for you to dictate, yes, no, this, that, not. No, it's for you to get all of the information that you need from all of these people and make a decision or help finalize a decision. Actually, is what you're doing. You're finalizing a decision. You know, that's leadership. And I don't think men know the difference, because they talking about how men have to lead these relationships. They got blah, blah. It's the difference between being a leader and a boss. I don't want to be a boss. I've never wanted, unless I'm bossing myself. I'm like literally a one-man band. Yeah, I'm a boss. But when it comes down to people that I'm working with, no, absolutely not. I prefer to be a leader, not a boss. I'm not going to tell you what. That's why it's so. Side note, but that's really why it's so really frustrating for me to work with a lot of people. It's like, I don't want to tell you what to do. Like, I tell you what I expect, but you get it done how you need to get it done. And if it ain't right, then we'll talk about it later. You know what I mean? But leadership, like when it comes down to a man leading a woman, actually leading a family, is really what you have to think, to be honest. Because if you're leading her, you have to understand that next comes the family. Because, seriously. But, like, some men have to understand, like, they don't make the best decisions in certain situations. That's why you have another person there. And you have to allow, and out of respect for what you're trying to build, you have to allow that person to make decisions. That's leadership. Head of the household just means that you are responsible for the people in the household. That does not mean that you are to dictate and tell them what to do and what not to do. It's a difference. A boss and a leader is two different things. You feel me? You get the role of being a leader when people believe that you are able to execute certain actions under certain situations. Like, you remember how Trump, he kept doing the executive order. He kept enlisting the executive order. And for the executive order is like when the president does not go to the Congress, They don't go to the presidential college. They don't speak to the people about it. They just make a decision because they have to. And it's a good decision. It's a right decision. That's why you get the role of leadership, because they know that there are going to be some decisions that have to be made without the council. There are going to be some decisions that have to be made without your wife. There are going to be some decisions that have to be made without your husband. You get the role of leadership when you understand that. I can't speak for what other women will do. Some women literally, generally, actually like to be told what to do. Like, they really, really do. And it's just because, like, they all have their reasons. I hear, like, a lot of women being like, I prefer, my man to think for me in a relationship, and I just do what he tell me to do. That's cool. To be honest, it's easier, if you a fall in line type person. Like, that works perfectly for you. You just play a role, do your thing, you taken care of, he got the rest. You know what I mean? That's good, but that don't work for everybody. Like, when you dealing with a woman who has an opinion, when you dealing with a woman who thinks for herself, when you're dealing with a woman who's actually smart, and no shade, but seriously, or who values her education, I say that. I won't say it's actually smart, because you don't have to go to school to be smart, but who values her knowledge and her education. You have to be with a certain type of man that also values your knowledge and your education. You feel me? Like, I'm not a stay in a place type woman. I wouldn't even teach my kids this shit. So, damn well I ain't finna be with nobody that believe, that's finna treat me like that. Like, no. I'm just not finna do that. And so when it come down to, like, a man saying he want to lead and he want me to submit to him, am I submitting to a leader or a boss? And number two, submission is a two-party thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was, a woman got to submit to a man. But a man got to submit to a woman too, doofus. Stupid. Like, what? And I'm being dead ass serious, because when you get married, if you listen to the preacher's vows, he said y'all become one, which means y'all are infusing into one another. So if one person submits, that will make you dominant. That's not a submission. That's not like a unit. That's not unity. You know what I'm saying? You have to give to get. Duh. Men have to submit to women too. They just submit in different ways. You know what I mean? Like, a woman may submit her responsibilities. A woman may sometimes, like in my case, I'm a very vocal woman. Believe it or not. You may not have seen me like that, but I really am. I'm going to say what I'm going to say. But in a case of a relationship, I would submit a little bit of my voice, because sometimes I need to shut up. You know what I'm saying? And then, but for a lot of men, I think they have to submit their emotions, because you have to let that woman in there, or your partner, whoever you're dealing with. You have to submit your emotions. And submission is really not about, like, letting a man do whatever he needs to do. It's really about trust. It's like, if I submit to you, I'm entrusting my self with you. I'm entrusting my goals with you. I'm entrusting my future with you. I'm entrusting my children with you. That's submission. You know what I mean? Which a lot of people, and it's no offense to nobody, but, like, a lot of people ask me, like, why you ain't got no kids yet, and this, that, and the third. Because if I'm having a child with a man, I would prefer to be married, right? Because I'm submitting, I'm entrusting him with my baby. You know what I mean? Because if something happens to me, I got to leave my child behind. Who did I leave it with? You know what I'm saying? Like, for real, like, some of these niggas crazy. You know what I'm saying? I just need to make sure, I'm entrusting my child into the right hands, and that's a baby mama conversation. But honestly, it's not a bad thing, but I want to have that conversation. I just want to pinpoint that in there because I'm going to have that conversation later. It's a baby mama conversation. Like, people be like, why so many baby mamas? I got a theory. It go back to this conversation. Anyway. But yeah, like, submission is about trust. It ain't about what I'm supposed to do. Because a man can give you everything in the world, but if ain't no love there, you still not satisfied. You know what I'm saying? So it's really like, whatever, type thing. But it's just my opinion and the things that I've learned. Like, over this whole the jokes on you kind of thing, I've had a lot of like men trying to enforce these like rules onto me. You got to stay in a woman place. You got to do this. You got to let a man do this. But truth be told, and this one thing I really do agree with, like the LGBTQ community, gender roles are stupid. In this day and age, they're stupid. Like, if this was 1955, gender roles made perfect fucking sense. But in 2013, wait, what year is this? 2023, gender roles don't make no damn sense. I can change a tire. I can replace a radiator. I can probably change my own oil. You understand what I'm saying? I can do these things, but I know a lot of men that cannot. And for you to sit here and say, oh, well, let a man handle it. If he ain't got no money to handle it, what I'm gonna do? Just sit there? No, I'm finna go out here and do what I gotta do. It's either you finna go, if you can't do it, I'ma do it. You understand what I'm saying? Gender roles my ass. Now, if you want to talk about some gender roles, you can get your ass out there and help. You know what I'm talking about? But I don't know, this is my opinion. But I do think, like, nowadays, gender roles really are stupid. They really are very stupid. Because just looking at the timeline of, like, how women have been treated over time, in this time of misogyny, it's like we're going backwards. It's like men find all these different fucking ways to, like, hold power over women. They will find literally any fucking thing, excuse my language, to hold power over women. But that's the conversation of boss and leadership. One thing I know about a pimp, right, is that a pimp understands the value of a female. Maybe not a woman, but they understand the value of a female. You understand what I'm saying? They know that women can do things that men cannot do. Women can get access that men cannot get. Pimps know this. You understand what I'm saying? So in the essence of leadership, when it comes down to relationship, sometimes you really do got to think like a pimp. My woman can do things that I cannot do. I have to respect her enough and swallow my pride enough to say, okay, I'm gonna let my girl do it, because I can't do it. It's not that hard. Life is more for women. Relationships, reality. Life is more than just cooking meals and decorating the fucking house. You know what I mean? Like, if I cut the grass, that's not emasculating the man. Number one, it's a great workout for me. I just want to throw that out there. Awesome workout. And, it's just, shit, he at work all day. If I'm at home all day, if I'm a housewife, I'm at home all day, my ADHD ass be needing something to do. So I might go out there and cut the grass. And I'm not cutting the grass because I'm trying to emasculate this man. I'm cutting the grass because the damn grass need to be cut. And I ain't got nothing else to do. So, you know what I mean? But if you want to apply gender roles to that, then it's like, I got to wait on the man to cut the grass. When I was just sitting here and wasn't doing nothing, I could have cut the grass myself. And that's just an example. You know what I mean? Could have been had it cut. And it's just an example. I know this random, but I know like a lot of men have given me flack for like cutting my own grass. But truth be told, I really do cut my own grass because it's really like a good workout for me. That's really why I do it. You know, it's really therapeutic, believe it or not. Like working in the garden. Now, would I prefer somebody else to cut my grass? Yeah. But if I ain't really got nothing to do, I don't mind working. That's just a part of like working in my garden for me. You know, I ain't really looking at it like no gender situation. But if the man want to handle it, he can handle it, but just handle it on time. You know what I'm saying? Like if I say I need my grass cut on Friday, cut the fucking grass on Friday. Don't get mad at me when I get up Saturday and cut it. You know, you want to talk about gender roles, be your ass on time. Shit. Yeah. You know, efficiency. But that's the conversation for another time. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just think, you know, this whole I'm a man, hear me roar movement. Even though I do love that a lot of men are speaking up and they're being more vocal, you know, about how they have been feeling these last 20 something years with just like women having to become more masculine in so many situations and how it's made them feel. I'm loving it. But it's also like I'm realizing that they don't really have anything to look up to either. You know, because if we're moving forward, but they keep looking backward for like the blueprint, you know. And don't get me wrong, history is important. Like I think learning from grandma and them, you know, learning game on like certain on how to do relationships and stuff like that. I think you can get a lot of game from history, like older people. Don't get me wrong, but if we're moving into we're in 2023, moving to 2024, you know, when gender roles are not supposed to be so important now, then why do you keep trying to enforce them on me? You know what I mean? You know, and do you even know the difference in some of the things that you're even telling us? You know, what are you saying, really? You gotta let a man be a man. Okay, that's cool, but what does that mean? Because truth be told, like every relationship is different. You know, every relationship is different. You know, there are, you know, like you remember like in these old like TV shows, you'll see like this one couple where it'll be like this really demanding woman and then her husband, he be all up on her, yes baby, what you want to do? Like even though people will make fun of those relationships, like some men be cool with it because they just understand like my wife is bossy, she gonna handle it, all I gotta do is give her the money, show up and be there. You know what I'm saying? Like that's it. And they liked it. You know what I mean? So they gonna follow up behind her, you know. But if you talking about gender roles, then it's like you got the man doing all that. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I just think every relationship is different. Like what turns you on might not turn me on. You feel me? It just might not. You know, I don't like a man to be in control of a relationship because to me, that puts me in the place of a child, basically, because I gotta do everything you say. I don't even like you like that, first off. I mean, you cool. You might be cute, but I don't like you like that. Not enough for me to be like, I'm gonna do everything you say. Bro, you don't get the hell out of my face. You know what I'm saying? You know, I don't want to do everything. Why would you even want me to do everything that you say? You know, but sometimes, like I said, there are relationships that work better that way. Especially when it comes to like polygamy, I think, you know, and that's a thing now. I've spoken about polygamy before. I think polygamy is a good idea. You know, I don't think it's for everybody, but I do think it's a good idea, you know, for some people, because some people want their community, you know. Some people, you know, in today's time, you know, people might go both ways, so you get the best of both worlds in one house. you know, and you don't have to ever worry about him or her cheating because y'all all together. I think it's kind of a cool concept, you know. I don't think it's for everybody. I do not. I really don't think that's for everybody. I really don't. You know, and that honestly, polygamy really that's a big conversation for a whole nother time. Do I think about, you know, I don't know. I just think a lot of things. But when it comes down to relationships, like I said, efficiency, communication, understanding what leadership is very important, you know, because leadership to me is having mutual respect. It's mutual, you know. And in somebody else's relationship, they might want to be, you know, have one partner lead and they just follow. You know. And then there are some people that like to work together and lead together. And then there's some people that want a community. One band, one sound. So I don't know. But I do think efficiency and communication is important, regardless of whatever relationship you're in. You know, and I do think gender roles are not as important as they used to be. But I do agree with a lot of traditional aspects when it comes down to parenting and gender roles. I think those are very important. But certain things in a relationship, you know, like little technical things, I don't think they're that important. I really don't. Because you emphasizing too much when efficiency is more important. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we trying to build something here, bro. You know? So what really matters? You know? Communication is very important. Learning how to talk to your partner is very important. You know? Now, everything I say is easier said than done. You know? But they still don't mean I don't know what I'm talking about. You know? But I do think communication is very important. Like, I know I've been in relationships where I was afraid to really articulate what I really thought and how I really felt, you know. And as a woman, you know, just automatically, like, being in a dating pool, I think a lot of women psych themselves out, you know, by being like, oh, it's so many women out here and he could leave me at any, or she could leave me at any point in time and I just have to do what he tells me to do. And honestly, I've been like that too. You know what I mean? Like, what if I'm not good enough for him and da-da-da-da. You know, we psych ourselves out a lot. You know, I think when it comes to the aspect, like, we really psych ourselves out a whole lot, in my opinion. For real, as women. You know, I really, really do. I just, you know, focus on your relationship. It's another thing, too. Like, focusing, like, literally focusing on your relationship. Like, you can learn from other people. You can even have, like, a mentor couple that you have, you know, that you talk to. But at the end of the day, their relationship is not your relationship. Social media advice is literally social media advice. You have to remember it's social media. So some of it are entertaining topics. You know, and one thing, the devil will find you when you're vulnerable. So, like, you know, as some things be on your mind, they pop up on your screen. You know, the devil will find you when you're most vulnerable. So you have to, like, really be careful about what you're consuming, because it could be playing tricks with you, you know? So just remember, your relationship is your own relationship. You know, you can talk to anybody about it. You can read books on it, get advice from it. But your relationship is your own relationship. And you know how I learned all of this stuff about relationships? Through sex. Sex will teach you a lot. It really, really will. Sex will teach you a whole lot. It really, really will. And I will go into a deeper conversation about that one day when I release my project. When I release my project one day, I will definitely go into a lot of detail about where my theories and everything come from and why sex was probably the basis for a lot of this. But for real though. But yeah, I don't know. They're just my thoughts on relationships right now and the things that I think, things that I have learned or are learning. But if you want, you are welcome to put your opinions in the comments below. Let me know what you think. Give advice. What is one thing that you would give me advice about? I don't know. Let me know something. All right, y'all.